Hey traders, happy Monday. Chris Pulver here. It is 9 o'clock on the 15th of July. Let's go ahead and begin for the weekly outlook. This is a new schedule for the week. Instead of our flex trading room on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it is now switched to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But no fear, we've got the weekly outlook ahead here. And nice little start to the week for the perfect storm. I had my Aussie Singapore dollar close up for some profit. So let's go ahead and get into the charts, take a look at everything for the week, and see what excellent setups we have. All right, here we go. So let's actually, I'm going to bring up my VPS right now, and this is the Aussie Singapore dollar that closed out for profit. We have 1, 2, 3 entries off of the perfect storm channel support and hit resistance and took profit. I'm actually sitting in profit as well on the Aussie CAD. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4 positions in profit, sitting up about $300, and we'll be closing most likely today. Other trades that are in and open, let me go ahead and check the total P&L. This brings the perfect storm range storm strategy total to $7,568. Pretty happy with that over the last 6 weeks, and a bit of a drawdown, but that's okay because I know that we'll be closing up for profit here. And also in my active storm, we have a total thus far of $1,689. So still doing well. Tis a season to be range bound, and even though we have some trends out there with a weaker pound, I'm just taking a look at everything for today. So let's find some good setups. But it's a nice way to kick off the week. So we have, to kick things off on Monday, futures is in the green, not by much, fractions of 1% thus far. Gold still steady above $14. Silver making a nice little charge well above 15. Oil back to 60 plus. I saw that Bitcoin took a big dip over the weekend. We actually dipped briefly below 10,000, and I had an alert go off that Ripple is down to 30 cents. So I'm probably going to put another little chunk of dollars into Ripple because the 2017 high was $3. So I kind of like the idea of I'm sitting at 30 cents. That's 10 times my money if it gets back to the 2017 highs at some point in the near future. So a little bit of a dip there. You know, crypto's all in the red, but futures is still positive. I saw that the Asian markets kicked off pretty well with some steady Chinese data. Although the GDP numbers showed a slowdown, everything else is pretty firm out of Asia. The Aussie and New Zealand doing extremely well. Take a look at the currency strength chart for this morning. The New Zealand dollar on top, the Aussie in second, but a noticeable gap. I mean, New Zealand dollar just kicking butt, and you've got the pound as the weakest for the morning during North American trading so far today. Everything else is pretty much baseline, but big move in the New Zealand dollar. You're seeing a decent movement, decent trends to the downside on Euro New Zealand and Pound New Zealand. New Zealand dollar also heading towards new highs. New Zealand yen also reaching new highs. So again, this really just taken into active zone trading today. It is just after 9 o'clock on the 15th. So New Zealand dollar still kicking for the morning. And I guess it's all just good news is good news out of Asia. So let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar for the week. What do we have? Speaking of news, there's your GDP numbers coming in as expected, but that is marking a bit of a slowdown for China. Although other data was upbeat, it's as expected for GDP numbers. We have New Zealand CPI coming out tonight, the 6:45 p.m. Monday, which will technically be Tuesday's trading day. We have Aussie monetary policy meeting minutes. We have pound average earnings and employment news coming out Tuesday morning during the London session. Core retail sales for the U.S. Powell is speaking again Tuesday, 1 p.m. Speech, aspects of monetary policy in the post-crisis era. Okay. Last week's testimony, the markets are trying to interpret the two-day testimony that the Fed will be cutting rates, or good news, bad news. The markets are still looking for at least a 25 to 50 basis points cut by September. My emotions are mixed on it. I think that if the data continues to prove positive, that the Fed will not cut rates and they'll continue just to get free mileage out of the narrative and the commentary and try to jawbone the currency down. President Trump is actually very active in trying to talk the dollar down and possibly even threaten, Powell's job, which I don't even know if he has the power to do that, as the Fed is pretty much completely removed and, self-governing. So anyway, rather than getting into the politics of the matter, let's just see what happens. But I'm still looking for the dollar index. We'll start with that when we get into the charts. We have pound CPI news coming out. We have CAD CPI news coming out. We have Aussie employment this week on Wednesday. And retail sales out of the UK and Canada this week for Thursday, Friday to wrap things up. So not a huge week as far as lots of news. I mean, quantity-wise, we don't have a lot. Last week's pretty light as well. But keep in mind, it's still the middle of the month. Middle of the month, it's July. We'll start getting through this month. Typically, it's the slowest month of the year. Once we transition into August, things will start picking up with breakouts. Things will start picking up. I'm expecting a lot more volatility to come in. But at the same time, who cares? If we're making money on Perfect Storm, if we're making money on ranges, if we're making money, week to week, that's what we want. We're sitting in good positions on pairs like New Zealand Swiss and Aussie Swiss. And we've got lots of positions running for the Flex trading room and strategies that are working. So let's keep keep the process. Let's keep making profits, and let's just let price fall where it may. Okay, so let's go into the charts here. We'll start things off with the dollar index, and again, take a look at the dollar index. We have yet to break these highs. We're testing highs equally, 12,348, or we'll just round it to 12,350. Pretty major resistance there. I would say the support level that needs to break, where I'm watching this. And the pair that I'm watching the closest in relation to the dollar index is the euro dollar. So if my dollar index can break below 12,230 or take out these previous lows at 12,220, if we can get these levels to break, if we can get solid bearishness below these lows, then that means the euro dollar should be moving to the upside, and that's going to be my currency pair that I'm looking for. All right, we're in pound dollar long, we're in euro dollar long. We have really good entries on those two currency pairs. So if it continues to bounce off of this area, anything at the highs we can look to sell, and we should see this movement back to the downside, especially if the Fed is going to take action over the next couple of months. So that's dollar index. Let's go through all the currency pairs here. Aussie CAD getting a little bit of strength out of, Australian New Zealand pairs are firm. We're just on the trend line. We haven't broken the trend line, but here is 4 daily candles for the recovery. We still have a monthly pivot at 92.25 that will most likely get hit. What I'd like to see happen is, let's say that we can break this trend line or just kind of get on the right-hand side of the trend line. We can probably build a position off of the right side of the trend line, either just initial break or pause, or a double bottom here around 9080, and trade this up towards 9200 or higher. So something we'll be keeping in mind for this week in the trading room. We have our live session tomorrow. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be the live schedule for our Flex trading room. And I'm watching for something here where we break, get on the right-hand side of the trend line, maybe retest the lows, and we can buy that nice and low with that right side confirmation to take it up towards 92. And again, we have room to the upside for other pivots as well. But if we can get low entries and take it up for 100 plus pips, that'll be a pretty nice way to start this trade out, because we have been patient. We've been very patient waiting for this. We took a small buy at 91.25, made some pips on that one, but next stop is just make sure we close on the right side of the trend line and start getting some price action there. Aussie Swiss, we're currently at 69.16. We're coming back to retest the highs, and this position is still good. I like this position a lot. We did come back down and try to fill that gap. That's an equal low. So low to high, if we're going to stick this landing and next stop is 7,000 or 70.50, let's stay with that Aussie Swiss to the upside. Aussie Yen, this one should have been breaking highs or very close to it. You can see it's just not quite above those highs, but steady levels off of these kind of equal lows. We identify this as a crown. This would be a bullish crown. And here is your left tip, center tip. This was one low that we considered buying from. We did pass in the trade, though. I didn't issue this as a group trade or anything like that. We did pass in this trade, although we talked about the levels, the equal lows around 75.10, which you can see that little dotted black line is sitting there. So I'm not sure if anybody did take the trade. If so, you're in. You're in for 70, 80 pips and positive. We're looking to, if I was in that trade right now, if I bought it off of this low, I'd probably go to +5 and just let it run. If it goes and breaks above this high, then you are in some open territory for this yellow box around 77.50, which is another roughly 200 pips away, or just shy of that. So it'd be pretty nice to be break even. If it goes your way, then let it run. If it doesn't, then no risk on the trade. It's not going to hurt anybody. All right, Oz and New Zealand. Currently sitting at 104.66. We still have this long channel. It's probably going to take its sweet time. And, in fact, we might just be dealing with this channel all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Every time we come into these lows, I'm still looking to buy in the short term. I'll buy it, take some profit. I'll buy it, take some profit. I'll buy it, take some profit. I'm still holding a base position from all this, all this flash crash stuff plus our add-on trades. We took profit here. We took profit here. We still have a base position built. I will scalp my way through this channel, and then eventually I'll stick to the long-term move towards 108 and 110. So that outlook hasn't changed. It's just a matter of trading the channel appropriately and trying to pick and choose my battles when I can add to the position. Aussie dollar, we are currently above 7,000. So we're just getting back to this previous high, which happens to be 7046. We are just off that level right now. Let's see what happens. If we get into open space up here, this could be bullish enough to start breaking and heading back towards 7,400. Now, rather than just jumping right in, traders, may have been buying the double bottom here. I know that we had some traders in the room that were around 6,850 to 6,900, and that's obviously working out very well. If you want to make sure you're protecting profit, that's not a bad spot because this certainly could be resistance right at this channel level around 7,050. But if it breaks and goes higher, this would be a great trade to stay with. I'm not in this trade right now, so I'm going to have to figure out how I can take an entry either on a break of the trend line or a pause of the trend line and see if I can take a position that allows me to get towards 7,300 or 7,400. But I'll wait. I'll try to get a good entry off this one depending on what price does. Otherwise, if it hits resistance and falls back down, then I'll just simply wait to buy it nice and low again. CAD Swiss, 7550. Nothing to do on this one. We took some profit with a great trade from 7,400 all the way up to 7,600. So we're just going to sit on the sidelines for right now. This should be holding resistance and probably making its way back down at least to this gap or even range lows again to 74, which I will gladly buy one more time. Actually, many more times. If it comes back down to 74, I'll buy it again. Swiss yen, we're at 109.75. Nothing to do on this one. Price essentially just stalled here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of indecision on the Swiss yen on the daily chart. Let's just let this one do what it needs to do. If it's going to go up here and find resistance, then we can sell it. It should finish this move down to support around 10900. But like I said, don't do anything on this one right now. I personally don't like the trade. Euro Aussie, another fresh low. We have our high, low, pullback, and we are heading into lower lows. We're just around the 6,000 mark. And again, there's a monthly pivot at 5850. 6,000 is a big round number. It's an important level, but we could certainly go from high, low, lower high to lower low into something like a 127 extension. So if I just go ahead and plot that very quickly, you will see from this high to low, I need to customize the fib for a second. I'm just going to put on that 1.8 and 127 right here. So that would be the extension around 5950 or 5900 on the Euro Aussie. So I do think this is heading a little bit lower, especially if we crack through 6,000. We should be able to drop at least another 50 to 100 pips on the Euro Aussie. So if you are bearish, stay short and get those profits protected. Euro CAD 4672. We are sitting in a small position here. We have broken the trend line. This is nice and slow. Here's the 4-hour chart. So look at how sideways this has gone. Now, the good thing is we have broken the trend line. Okay? The good thing is we've broken the trend line. I'm looking to see, does it hold this same low and start to oscillate a little bit longer before we carve out some bottoms? Does it come back down and retest, the backside of the trend line, build a very nice low, and then form a reversal pattern, which I could certainly see happening as well. We're currently long in this one with a couple small positions. We're trying to get back towards roughly 4,800. 5,000 would be great, but we'll kind of look and see how price action behaves on the right side of the trend line for a bottoming formation. So we'll hold the current positions and just remain patient this week and see how it plays out. Euro Swiss is just below 1.1080, and not much has changed on this one. I still like the short-term move. This is a 4-hour chart. There should be short-term move back up towards 1138. In fact, I might place an order on this one right here. I'm going to take a look at the 1-hour chart. I think I'm going to go long and add another position right here. So I just threw this into my broker platform. This is a buy trade at 1.1080, and I'm going to try to target this little pocket right there around 1.1135. It's about a 50 pip move. This is going to be added to what we already have. So I already have positions in and running on the Euro Swiss, but I'm going to go ahead and take that as an individual scalp. And let's take this down to, let's see here, here's a 1-hour chart. So this is the area right in here, just equal lows, and trying to take this up towards this nice little inefficiency from last week around 1130 or 1135. So a little scalp to add to it, just make about 40-50 pips to add to a position that I'm holding. And remember that bigger position on the Euro Swiss is looking for 1260, which is a previous monthly pivot that was hit. We're just looking for equal highs or a nice inefficiency on the daily chart, which is around 1300. So I'm just going to sit here and just play with the support levels and just really the efficiency game of the Euro Swiss. So that's that trade. Euro pound, we're currently at 8987. Again, for the life of this currency pair, I mean, again, it's not a big deal. We've hit 9,000. We haven't broken 9,000 since. This was the high here at 9007, I believe. Trying to find the candlestick. I'll just use the crosshair instead. 9006, 9007. We have not broken that high yet. So that is the high. Currently, price is bullish right now with the weaker pound movement. However, we have still not broken 9,000. And even if we do, we have a pending sell sitting there at 9039, which should help signal a very nice top. This is also a great trade for right trader. It is a reversion strategy. And you can see here on the 4-hour chart, we have still not touched the red ribbon. And this is stretching into 270 bars, I believe, on the 4-hour. So red ribbon from here to there, we're at 280 plus between the pound Swiss and the euro pound, which again, I know that the distance isn't that great. I mean, from current price to the red ribbon is only about 50 to 60 pips. But the reality is this should be signaling the likelihood of the top forming, of the move coming back into the ribbon and making a corrective move into our profitable area. So I just like that this is setting up for the extreme, and most likely when that extreme happens, we can take this low to the highest high and then plan on just a simple correction into that 23% or 38% or maybe even 50% pullback level. So we're still going to stay the course on euro pound, and I just like the probability setting up on each one. So I remain short, and the next level is 9039 just in case we need it. Euro yen still sideways, a lot like Swiss yen. I'd say leave this one alone for now. Euro New Zealand dollar is firmer. We're at new lows. You can see this was a nice tap off the monthly pivot, and we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 daily candles in a row stretching from last week. Again, look for the 127 zone. Here's the fib from high to low, and we are approaching that 1.8 and 127. So 6,700 to 6,655. If you are in this trade at all, whether you're holding from our levels at 71.95 or you're in on the right-hand side of this trend line, you're getting some profit into that 1.8 and 127 zone. So make sure you're looking to trap some profits there. And the finish line for this should be high, low, either pull back one more time, go back down again, but we are looking to complete this around 6,400 or back to these lows, which price has already been to. So I do want to stay bearish on the Euro New Zealand. Euro dollar, we're at 1267. Still sitting here from an 1195 entry, that's a buy trade, and a smaller entry here around 1319 or 1320. So this is the dollar index flipped upside down. So if we see the dollar index holding highs and selling off, we should see this holding lows and creating a rally. So this could be that subtle little August breakout. We could have something happen in August that signifies more of the bottom formation off the backside of this trend line or this wedge. This is a massive falling wedge. The technical move should be to the upside. If it happens, it's probably going to be happening quickly. I think the volatility will increase to do that as well. If we're going to go from 1,200 to 1,700, it's probably not going to take very long. I would say maybe a couple of weeks if it does. And so this might be a transition into August, but I still really like the trade, which is why I'm currently long with a couple small positions here on euro dollar. Pound pairs. Pound is weaker, Aussie is stronger. So pound Aussie still making new lows. We're through the 18127. There's a D extension at 7660. If you want to consider still staying bearish, you've got a target, but just be careful because we can pull back, right? We can go down, we can pull back a little bit, but I'd still stay bearish. We should be bearish on this pound Aussie all the way down towards 7,400 or lower. Pound Canadian dollar, currently at 63.24. I do have a couple small positions trading on the pound dollar, pound CAD, and this trend line still needs to break, which it's not even close at this time. You can see that we are getting a lot of indecision, however. Indecision. Well, today is a little bit more bearish, but testing lows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 daily candles showing a bit of pausing hesitation. Perhaps it stays just kind of grinding to the downside towards 6,100 or 6,000. I think that this is still going to carve out a very nice bottom in here, and we'll get a nice buy trade back up towards 68 or 6,900 to still turn this into profit. So I have positions in that are long. They're all small. They're half trade sizes. I'm just kind of playing the overall area on pound CAD to take this up towards 7,000 again. Pound Swiss, I'm also long on this pair, and this is another one. So 4-hour bar count on right trader, very good probability, 280 plus bars, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and measure that. So this is the mirror image of the euro pound. So 280, and again, we should step into some buy trades perhaps. We have a pending buy at 22.70. If that is filled, hopefully we see a nice little bounce. We have news this week between CPI, or core retail sales. Let me check the calendar one more time. We have average earnings, so employment news out of the UK. We have CPI to the UK and retail sales. So we have enough data this week to possibly turn the pound into something positive. And if so, just in the short term, looking for a little correction on both euro pound and pound Swiss to drive those trades back in the right direction. Pound yen, this one we can probably, well, it's not the bar count that we wanted. I'm just going to stay out of this one. We have this slightly channelish structure. Yeah, I wouldn't trade this one. I mean, I'm not sure if this structure is actually going to hold and stay in this range, or if it's going to drift back down and try to test the lows. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to cross this one off the list. I don't like pound yen. Pound New Zealand, we wanted to remain short. We've been short on this one since 9,700, 9,750. Many traders were trying to look and actually are still short. We just didn't get really the pullbacks we wanted. I was looking for more of a break the trend line, retest the highs, something like this before it dropped. It just broke and dropped, and it's still dropping. So it is a scalpable trade. If you're in the trend direction, it's trending down. I mean, you could be in six-figure max, you could be in right trader, you could be with sentiment strength line or momentum breakout strategies. We've been looking at just simple trend line breaks, and we've gotten them. It's just been more aggressive than I expected. So we had a great trade here to the downside. Unfortunately, I just didn't get back in to reparticipate with the trade because I was waiting for more of a kind of an equal high or sell high opportunity. It was, in fact, I think this was less than a 38% bounce. So either way, it's bearish and continue to stay bearish. All we want to see is just, does it get a pullback? Can we get a pullback? Can we get a trend line? Can we enter again? We should be targeting these lows around 8,200. So pound Aussie and pound New Zealand both still look good to the downside. Pound dollar, this one is holding above 2,500. We're at 2,532. I'm currently in with an entry at 2,480. And hopefully we see dollar weakness that dominates this pair and positive pound news that should drive this up towards 27.50, which is this high right here. If we can break 27.50, we should go to 3,000. Now, more than likely, it will do it in some fashion like so. We're going to have a wave count, but 27.50 is a critical resistance point that if we break through it, next stop should be 3,000. So hopefully the pound dollar holds the lows around 2,500, and the next stop we see is 27 plus. New Zealand CAD, currently at 87.50. This is the falling wedge break to the upside. I'm not going to manually buy this. We did talk about this one last week in the Flex Trading Room. This is probably going to be a bullish trade up towards 8,900, depending on what happens with the way this moves. If it moves very aggressively and almost in an inefficient manner, then I will probably look at selling around 89 to come back down, or selling it at 91 and come back down. But for right now, if it's just getting started, we might have this break, come back and retest the backside of the trend line, and then rally again. We could look for equal bottoms here around 86.50 if we're going to be patient waiting for an entry. Let's keep an eye on this one. This one might actually offer us a decent trade to the buy side in the short term. And this would be, let's get a good entry. If it breaks, pulls back, we look for an entry, stop area below the lows, and this thing does, in fact, take off towards 89. We could still have a really good trade on that New Zealand CAD this week. New Zealand Swiss, we are still in, we're still long, and we're back up towards previous highs. We want to consider maybe some profit around 66.50 or higher. We're currently at 66.10, so we're not that far off the highs, and we're certainly not that far off profit levels either. So this week we might end up trapping some profit. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 positions in, or at least I do, and looking to take some profit at 66.50 or more. Should be, I should have like $400 or $500 built up on this position. But everything's in profit right now, and new highs are good, and 66.50 or higher is also good for profit. New Zealand yen, trying, just like Aussie yen, trying to break this high. We haven't broken it yet. This is around 72, we'll just say 7,300. We're not there. So we might see off of this low. We are kind of creeping up back up towards new highs, and 73.50 is a price gap. So that's probably the destination on New Zealand yen. New Zealand dollar, 67.21. This one is at new highs and should be continuing up towards 30 to 68.80. So that was a price gap that we talked about, or not price gap, but inefficiency we talked about several weeks ago, in fact. And we ended up getting buy trades at 64.99, buy trade at 64.99. We were hoping to have another buy trade at 64.99, but it just bounced right there at 6,600. So I would say you can still look for bullishness here. This should go up. If we get another pullback, we could probably reload here at 6,600 and trade the range. If it gives us more of a movement up higher and pauses up here, look for another opportunity to buy and put stop areas below and go after that little pocket around 68. Like I said, 68.30 to 68.90, be trapping profits there. So we should be bullish and maintain bullishness on the New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD is at 3022. Now, I've taken a look at this many different ways. I'm looking at also multiple time frames. I have a feeling here that there might be like a little sneaky move around 3,000, but we should get a bounce. I really think we should get a bounce. So I'm sitting here with a position around 3067. Initially, we talked about buying this at 3,100, and I'm going to wait and see, do I need to add to this at 3009? Do I need to add to this at 3,000? If it hits 3,000, what I'll probably do is wait until the end of the day or maybe even the end of the week. Certainly a lot of things can change from a Monday to a Friday. So if we see price, coming into 3,000, indecision, then Friday we have a bullish candle. That could be the bottom. You notice here on the right side of the trend line, we broke the trend line now. So if we're coming back, so here's a trend line break, coming back to retest the back side of the trend line, if this is going to be pausing and forming the lows, I do think that something around this 3,000 handle can really stick and give us a bouncing point. So I'm willing to wait a little bit on this one to make sure that, can we get this back to 3,100, 3,125? We talked last week, actually, Denise mentioned this at 3,130. There's just a weird amount of resistance there. But currently, if we're in at 3,100 or 3,060, if we get to 3,130 or higher, then we can just move our stop losses, trap our profits, or at least eliminate risk. But I want to see what happens at 3,000. If we can hold that level, we should be good to the upside on dollar CAD. Dollar Swiss, not much to do on this one. We have a couple of pockets up here. This one has clearly been hit, so I'll take that one off. This one has been hit as well, so I'll take that off. And we'll just let this one do what it needs to do. If this is going to fall one more time, that'd be fine. Let's fall again. I'm going to consider buying it at the lows around 95.50 or lower. I think that euro dollar and dollar index and dollar Swiss, they might be correlated in some fashion, but I still think dollar index and euro dollar is going to be the best trade overall. Dollar yen, 107.87. We're still on the right-hand side of this channel, but price is refusing to break above, and really, it may break below. I just think there's a lot of buying potential down here, either at these equal lows around 10700 or obviously flash crash levels around 10500. But if we just stay in a range, don't be surprised if it stays in this range around 107.80, which is current price, to 108.80, which is roughly 100 pips. This is about a 100 pip range right now, and looking to stay in there. Dollar peso. We have a couple small entries in on the peso, looking for this price to rally back towards decent indecision candle today. Let's see if this will rally back towards this yellow box around 19.5. So watching the area closely. I do have some chart alarms set. Small position, watching closely. But if we start making our way back up towards equal highs, we should hopefully drift up towards that yellow box around 19.5, grab some pips on that one. So this will be a wait and see. We'll talk about this more during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, during the trading room. Krone, cross out, went off the list for now. We took some profit already. Let's take a look at oil. $60 in holding, but recently, so today's price action, indecision thus far. Indecision from last week, indecision, that's 3 indecision candles here at 60 bucks. I have a feeling we're going to be sticking around this $60 area, resistance forming, and then probably a breakout that traders are going to be looking for something to the downside. So don't be surprised if it does form, indecision candles that end up giving more of a decisive break. If it's bearish, that's an easy trade to the downside. If it's bullish, that's a scalp to the upside. So traders can go either direction. Just make sure you have a game plan and a stop loss. If you're going to trade bearish or bullish, just have a stop loss above or below. And let's see what happens. But I think there's a range here with this wedge between $60 as resistance and $54 to $53 is support. So it could be a steep little drop just this week from $60 back towards like 55. Let's see if that plays out this week. Here is silver. Still haven't broken the structure to the upside. I'm hoping to see more bullishness coming, so let's see if we can get silver to break, and then next stop should be $16. Otherwise, it's just kind of slowly, building support off of $14.85 and just choppy, but should have another bullish push coming soon. Gold is still firm above $13.65. Same thing here. We're not seeing new highs. Lots of indecision after this crazy run. So is this indecision forming the next buy trade? We'll find out. But $13.65 needs to hold for support because that's the big level. And that's it. We'll take a look at Bitcoin here. We're at 10,193. You can see that very steep drop. We got down into 9,800 over the weekend. And pretty crazy stuff, pretty intense. But again, looks like just corrections. So a big rally, high, low, lower high, equal low, just kind of shaking things out with some consolidation of volatility. If this forms a wedge, there could be more bullishness coming once the buyers decide to reemerge. So I'd look to stay long on cryptos, at least for the joy of the rally. And that's it. So that will do it for today. We've got a busy week ahead, July 15th to 19th, and we have some news, not a ton, but some important news. Let's watch the pound crosses this week. Hopefully Euro pound, pound Swiss start to turn the corner. Look at the Euro Swiss, nice little add-on trade for 40, 50 pips. Stay the course on Aussie Swiss, New Zealand Swiss. Hopefully those are going to run into some profit for us this week. We can grab several hundred pips out of that with the positions we have built. Euro CAD I think is fine to hold. Pound CAD is fine to hold. And New Zealand dollar like long. Dollar CAD I'm watching at 3,000. And Aussie New Zealand I'll try to scalp at that channel. So probably sticking to the same 6 to 8 currency pairs we've been in with some active positions, possibly some add-ons. And it's just another steady week. Just a friendly reminder out there for everybody in the Flex Trading Room, we'll be live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 a.m. So it's going to be a slight schedule change. Obviously, it's not Monday, Wednesday, Friday like it used to be. It is now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll start nice and early tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. It will be recorded. I'll get the session up same day. And looking forward to keeping everything steady and consistent with some nice pips and good trades in the Flex Trading Room. Also, keep those mailbag questions coming into my email, cpulver@markettraders.com. You can follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook and YouTube. This video, actually, the Weekly Outlook will be posted on YouTube, and I'll have some mailbag videos coming out this week. So looking forward to that, and let's have a fantastic week, everybody. If you have any questions, let me know. This is Chris Pulver, and happy trading, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.